How are you? Busy? You working? What have you been doing?
So yeah, I'm working on a project at the moment, which I'm not allowed to say too much about,
Yeah,
but I've kind of finished my first bit of filming and I'm doing some more again in January. Um, so yeah, I'm not allowed to say too much about it, but
yeah,
I'm very excited about it. And that's what I can say, I
yeah.
guess.
Do you ever find it hard to, keep the work a secret? Is it quite hard, to not tell anyone about it? Because I'm sure it's always on your mind,
Oh
for the
yeah,
NDAs and stuff.
I literally want to shout it from the rooftops, like
Mm,
because I'm so passionate about the work I do and I want to
yeah,
share it with people around me. So yeah, I find it really hard, but it makes it that much better when you then can share it with
mm,
people, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So so yeah, it's worth it.
Well, what made you choose acting, like to begin with? Like, where did it all start, and how did it all begin for you? Because you jumped into it sort of, well, you've got quite a lot of work behind you already, at the age you are. I
Yes,
think,
yeah.
yeah,
So I started when I was quite young, and it's interesting because I get asked that a lot as an actor, and like all actors do. And it's weird because for me, I just always, literally ever since I can remember, to be honest, I just felt this call to perform and this
yeah,
desire to perform. I would literally make anyone who was around watch me
mm,
perform. Like I'd write little plays, sing songs, do little dances, do little shows. I'd like force my friends to get involved. Ever since I was so young. And then I kind of begged my mum to take me to singing and dancing and acting classes,
yeah,
and she did. Um, because, well, High School Musical was a big moment for me when I was a kid. I saw that and I was
mm,
like, oh my God, like I have to do this. Like this is like the best thing on the planet. And
yeah.
I kind of formed my personality, to be honest, as like have you seen High School Musical?
I have, yeah, I've seen bits of it, like clips. I haven't watched it like the whole movie, but yeah, I've heard
So
of it and seen it. Yeah,
you know Sharpay and Gabriella, the blonde.
maybe I might have to recap myself.
So I
Yeah,
basically formed my personality between those two characters. And
okay.
Charlotte is very much like a showgirl, wants to be the
Mm,
lead. And Gabriella's like a great singer and wants to perform, but she's kind of got more heart and is more kind and cares about her friends. So anyway, I formed my personality between those two,
yeah.
and I have to do this. And then my mum did take me to singing, dancing, and acting lessons, and there I was kind of scouted, and that's how I got started in musical theatre when I
Mm,
was like 10 or 11.
mm,
And then, yeah, I was in Oliver Twist with Rowan Atkinson in at Drury
wow.
Lane in the West End when I was like 11, I believe, or 10. And then I felt that feeling on stage and I was like, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my
Mm,
life. So yeah, I guess then,
wow. So,
yeah.
was it mainly? It started with live plays mainly for you, before on screen. Was that the way around?
Kind of, yeah. So because I got a scholarship to Sylvia Young Theatre School. So I trained at
Mm,
musical theatre school, like from 11 to 16 secondary school age.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that kind of is how it started for me. And then I did National Youth Theatre,
Mm,
which is how I got my agent I have now.
okay.
So so yeah, that kind of is how it happened. But I've always been a huge fan of TV and cinema. So that was
Mm,
kind of, I always knew I wanted to kind of work in that at some point. But yeah, kind of did happen that way around. I'd love to do theatre again though.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Wow. You said you had to like practically beg your mum. Did they support the decision, or did you need more support than what they gave? Yeah. How did that work out for you?
So yeah, no, my parents were so supportive
Mm,
actually. Yeah, they were great. I couldn't have asked for much more. But the reason I kind of had to initially beg my mum is she was a busy woman, you know. She had to take me to these classes. I
mm,
think she was
yeah.
just like, God, my
Yeah.
schedule is getting full.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and also she was a bit unsure about me going to musical theatre school because I think she really wanted me to have like, you know, a normal, great childhood. And
Mm.
she saw in me that very like strangely, I was
Because
obsessed.
it's very serious as well, isn't it, for your age, to join so young?
Exactly
Yeah.
that, exactly that. And she wanted me to have fun and be with my friends. And I was like, from a very young age, I was like obsessed with working
Mm.
as an actor and in musical theatre, which is like quite rare for a child, I guess. But I was
Yeah.
obsessed with it. And I think she saw that and she loved it, but she wanted to be like, calm down. You're only going to be a child once.
Mm.
You so yeah, but they were very, very supportive. My mum, honestly, the amount of times she would rehearse scenes with me, test me on my lines,
Yeah.
like she would do that with me so much. And
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So
dad
she, yeah.
loved to brag to his friends about it too.
Mm. So you can share the scripts of your family to practice on then at least, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
depending on how big the project is,
Mm.
sometimes you can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's nice when you can.
Mm. How did you sort of handle the schedule around acting and being in school? Like, was that quite a challenge as well? How did you maintain the schedule?
You know what? It actually wasn't for the most part because like once you've done rehearsals,
Mm.
the shows are all in the evening most of the time. And as a child, you can only perform 3 times a week because of the laws around working.
Yeah.
But I was actually like I was like a featured extra in this film called Never Let Me Go,
Okay.
uh, with Keira Knightley and Carey Mulligan, and they had like a school like on set, so we would like learn kind of between takes type of thing, and that's kind of how we do it. Um, so that was quite useful, but I didn't have too much time out of school, so it was okay. But obviously, being at a musical theatre school, we did academics like English and Maths Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then singing, dancing, acting Thursday, Friday anyway. So I
Okay.
was used to balancing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it laid out quite well for you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, did you expect to see yourself land a role in EastEnders? Did your family expect that to happen? Because that's quite a big deal, jumping into it quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't expect
Mm.
it. And none of my family expected it. And it was just honestly like so surreal because I've spoken about it a lot, but I was a huge fan of EastEnders when I was a kid and when I was a
Mm.
child. I would literally not miss it.
Mm.
If I like I remember one time my dad took me to Spain with my stepmom, and my thought was literally like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss so much EastEnders. Like
Yeah.
what am I
Whole two
gonna
weeks to catch up on.
literally, I was
Yeah.
like, oh God, rather than like being excited about going to Spain. So yeah, I did not expect it at all. It was so amazing and it was so great the way it happened because I always thought like I'd love to be on this show, but I couldn't really see any part that I thought was kind of right for me, I guess.
Mm.
But then when Dana came through, I was like, oh no, this is like really right for me. Like
Mm.
I so it was kind of perfect. And I was on it, obviously, I did like a guest role before
Yeah.
in one episode, and that was like a great way to kind of then get more confidence to be a kind of series regular.
Mm. What makes you say that Dana was for you? Like, were there similarities between you and the character, would you say, or,
Yeah, a
is it
lot,
more of
a
your
lot.
own thing that you can see? Yeah.
There are a lot of similarities between me and Dana, actually.
Mm.
Like the way she would nerd out with Bobby over like things like anime is very much like I'm not into anime specifically, but
Mm.
the way I nerd out about cinema in general is
Mm.
like very similar. Um, and me and my boyfriend nerd out in a very similar way to the way Dana and Bobby nerd out. And
Okay.
also just how like caring she is and how much she feels like kind of she feels like she needs to look after everyone around her. And I really, really, really relate to that. Like
Mm.
scenes that I first got sent when I was auditioning with her and her dad, where she really felt this sense of care towards him is kind of how I felt in my life towards my mum. So I kind of really related to that.
Mm. Yeah. What was the most challenging scene that you filmed as Dana? Like, there's quite a few, weren't there, when it came to religious, storylines and Bobby's previous storyline as well. Yeah. What was the most challenging scene for you?
It's a good question. Most challenging scene.
It's quite hard to choose. Like I say, there was so many with, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was one we did where we were on the doorstep of my flat and I had to really have a go at Bobby.
Mm.
And Dana was breaking up with him and she like was chucking this piece of jewelry that he'd bought for her at him. And it was like quite early on in my
Mm.
when I started the show, and it was kind of the biggest scene I'd had so far.
Mm.
And I knew that on EastEnders the way you work is very quick, so I knew I wouldn't
Yeah.
have long to do it. And so I kind of there was a lot of build up to that one, but then when I did it, it was great, and I just felt so in it. And one of the crew came over to me and was like, "That's one of the best scenes I've ever seen here. That's one of my favorite scenes I've ever
Wow.
seen." That was like really affirming for then the rest of my journey. But I think a lot of the stuff as well, like with the storyline with Aaron being far right,
Yeah.
that was all very tricky to navigate, and I was kind of aware of that. But I think it was kind of okay in the end. To be honest, most things on EastEnders, because I just loved the way they worked there. Things that I would read and think, oh, this is going to be challenging. In
Mm.
practice, it would kind of just work, and I would kind of just feel it and do it.
You said that you have to get the scenes filmed quite quickly, and you have to get it done in quite a rush. Were there many outtakes or fails behind camera? Yeah,
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 absolutely. There
yeah,
was so many. I mean, because yeah, you don't have much time. If you would find yourself, like when you talk, you kind of slip up your words, or you're kind of talking too
yeah,
quickly
yeah.
and you fall over
That's
your
a
line.
constant thing for me.
Yeah,
I even struggle in the podcast. It's like it's annoying.
yeah, no, me
Yeah.
too. It's when your brain, like when I've had too many coffees and my brain is going faster than my mouth,
Mm.
kind of be the way. And because you knew that you wouldn't have long, the director and the crew would kind of like it if you could to not cut and to save it.
Mm.
So there were many times when I'd be like, oh, and Bobby would go, blah, 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 and I'd be like, blah, blah, and I'd try and save it, but then me and Clay would just look at each other and burst out laughing
Mm.
because we knew. And there was one time when Ross, who played my dad, Harvey,
Yeah.
well, he still plays him,
Brilliant actor. They all are in there. Yeah.
amazing actor. Like I learned so much from him.
Mm.
He came in one scene and he was like, oh, Barbara, can we just, and I was like looking at him like, Dana, like it's Dana, but he just like
Yeah.
kept on going on and
Oh,
on and on.
okay. Yeah.
And I was trying so hard not to laugh. It was very funny.
Probably
Yeah,
all get carried away calling each other the original names and yeah.
absolutely. There's a lot of crossover on something like EastEnders where you are putting so much of yourself into your character, so it
Mm.
is very easy for the lines to blur. Yeah.
Yeah. How long is a typical filming day? Like, how many hours can you be there for, out of curiosity?
To be honest, it really, really depends on your storyline. There
Mm.
were days when like it was easy as hell, and I was like, I can't believe I get paid for this. Where I'd go in at 1 p.m., shoot one scene, and I'd be home at like 5 p.m. Like
Yeah.
that was crazy. But then there were also days when it would be like 7 till 7.
Mm.
And it would be like that for a week straight.
Mm.
So like that, it was kind of like that around my New Year storyline
Yeah.
time. But I kind of like working like that because and sometimes they would throw in, if you had extra time at the end of the day, they'd be like, oh, we've got this scene, could we just quickly
Yeah.
fit
Yeah. Add it
in?
on.
Or,
Mm.
yeah, so sometimes your hours would get extended like that. It would really depend.
Would you say, we don't have to go into too much detail, but would you say the pay rate is good enough for the hours that you put into it? Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. They
Yeah.
they pay very
Mm.
fairly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Does it ever get quite tiring because obviously you get the fans outside as well that want to stop and take pictures of you? Can it ever get quite draining? Like, do you ever feel like you just want to get home after a long day, or how
What?
do you feel about
No,
that side of it?
I actually love interacting with the fans
Mm.
because it was like, as you say, I'd done a lot of work before then, but it was
Yeah.
mostly guest roles and smaller stuff, indie stuff. So I'd never really had that experience of people being like, your character means so much to me,
Mm.
your work means so much to me. So to be honest, like I could never get bored of that.
Mm.
I loved chatting to the people and taking pictures with them. I'd even do TikToks with one guy who
Yeah.
would stand outside
Yeah. Is
sometimes.
that the Pete guy that comes up on?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all
Me
seen him.
and
He's
Clay
cool.
did a
Yeah. He's
TikTok
funny.
with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta give him a
So
shout out.
yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
Beale. Um, Yeah, no, I would love it. And like signing pictures and stuff, I never mind doing that. Even fan mail, like I've had some such lovely fan mail and I really try and get to it, but you know,
Mhm.
get so busy and whatever it is. But no, for me, I feel so lucky that I'm in that position that I love it and I could never get tired of it,
Mm.
really.
So the atmosphere is great then, inside and outside the studio.
It really is,
Yeah,
yeah, it really is. And that's, I've always been very grateful for
yeah.
that.
I mean, everyone always usually says that it's like working with family as well. Do you feel that way? Do you still feel close to the cast now? Are you in touch with them?
Yeah,
A lot of
absolutely.
questions, but
No,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It really is like working with family, and
Mm.
it's so bizarre, but I really did, and I feel like this might sound a bit stupid, but I really did feel like Ross was my dad,
Yeah.
and Charlie, who played Aaron, was my brother, and like Clay was like my very like my best friend. Like,
Mm.
it really did feel like that.
Mm.
And yeah, I still talk to them. I still I have a lot of kind of friends in common with some of the people my age, like Millie Zero and
Yeah.
Dottie, and people like that. So we all hang out in the same circles and
That's
chat. And
cool.
we're all very like, like people who have come and gone and left. We're all very supportive of each other's
Mm.
endeavors, like outside of the show as well, which is
Wow.
really nice.
I actually forgot to ask at the start. Like, how did you actually land a role in EastEnders? Like, what was the process of it? Was it auditioning, word of mouth? How did that happen for you?
So it was actually got the it was a self-tape that I initially got through my agent.
Mm.
And it was during COVID, like, the Christmas when you weren't allowed to go anywhere in 2020.
Yeah.
It was that time that I got the first self-tape. And it would have been an audition, usually with EastEnders, but because of COVID,
Mm.
uh, it couldn't have been in person because they don't usually like to send scenes, obviously, for like privacy reasons. They don't want
Mm.
them to be leaked. So yeah, I did that first self-tape, and then they came back and said, "We really like it. Can you do another one with some different scenes?"
Mm.
And I did. And then they said, "We really like that." And then I had a meeting on Zoom with the exec at the time, John Sen,
Yeah.
and a couple of the casting people, and kind of talked through the storyline and Dana's arc and what it would be and how I would feel about all of it. And I remember coming off that call and being like, oh, I don't know if I came across very well. I'm not sure. And my
Yeah.
mum was like, let's go for a walk, let's clear your head,
Yeah.
whatever. I get back from the walk, I get a call from my agent, and he's like, "So how do you think that call went?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And he's like, "Well, you should know because you got it. They want you
Wow.
to be Anna." And I was like, "Oh my God."
Mm.
So yeah, that was kind of that process was maybe like 2 months long
Yeah.
overall. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe just under. I might be wrong about that, but
It's still
yeah,
quite quick, actually, isn't it? To be fair, that 2 months can go quite quick now, so it's quite a short
yeah,
space of
yeah.
time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it felt long because it was during COVID and there was
Mm.
not much else going on. But no, it was really, really quick actually,
Yeah.
which that's what I love about acting is that you can be doing one thing 1 second and then the next second you're in this completely new world. It's really
Mm.
great.
Wow. Going more onto your storyline again as well. Did you ever disagree with the direction of the character? With the way that it was going in the storylines. Did you ever feel unhappy about the way it was heading?
No, not really, to be honest. I not really. I kind of because I trust the writers and I trusted, both execs that they were like John Sen when I first started,
Mm.
and then it was Chris after that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And he's leaving now as well, isn't he? I heard some rumors.
oh,
Yeah.
is he?
Yeah, I
I
saw it
didn't
online
know
somewhere,
that.
but
Oh,
mm,
I didn't know that.
mm,
Wow. I wonder who will take over. I'm not
who
sure.
knows? Hopefully they
Yeah.
bring you back.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I'll be the
Yeah.
exec.
Yeah.
No,
Never know.
joking. Yes, that was such a tangent, sorry.
No,
Anyway,
you're right. It's good to make it a bit of fun. We need more of that.
yeah. No, I because I trust them and
Mm,
I if at first there was something when I was like, oh, that surprised me a bit, I
Mm.
would always talk it through with whoever it was, and then I'd be like, oh, and it was never that I was unhappy. It would just be like, oh, that surprised me. Like, what's the reason for
Yeah,
that?
it's a little
And
bit. Yeah.
it would be all good, you know. I think I very much felt like Dana had done everything at that point that
Mm.
she would do on the square, and I kind of felt like I wouldn't have known where to take her. So I kind of understood when they didn't, you know.
Yeah. I mean, while we're on the subject, what was the most surprising twist for your character, do you think, within the show?
Oh, surprising twist for my character. Well, when she slept with Peter,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I I
I don't
could
know why I don't remember that scene, to be fair. So
see
it's good
not
that
what it
no,
was
yeah.
in. It was in the kitchen of Wolford
Oh yeah,
East.
and yeah, yeah. As soon as you
Yeah,
mentioned kitchen,
yeah.
yeah, I
It
don't know
brings
why.
it back.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very unhygienic, actually.
yeah,
That's should lose their jobs for
really.
that. Not have
Mm,
been. Um, yeah, when because she didn't cheat on Bobby. They'd broken up, but I read that, and I remember actually we were all in the green room when
mm,
I read it, because you get your scripts kind of in an envelope and you pick them up, and sometimes I would read them there because it would be funny to get everyone's reaction, like when you'd be reading them together.
mm,
And I remember me and Dale, who played Peter at the time, we read it and looked at each other like, oh my God.
mm.
So yeah, that really surprised me that Dana would do that. But I very much liked it because I was like, she's got a bit of an edge to her. I kind of like that.
Yeah,
And that,
yeah.
going back to your question, was I ever unhappy with anything they did? No, because all I would see it as is peeling back another layer of her,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, because I feel like your character started out quite shy at first as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
it's interesting you say it as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
she did, which was nice actually because it gave me somewhere to build from and somewhere to go, you know.
Mm,
I if you come in and you're like woo da, 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 like
mm,
going off, then you have to really ramp it up and up and up and up, you know.
yeah.
Which the people on a lot of the people on the show do fantastically, but I was kind of glad to start off a bit more reserved and then
Mm.
hopefully leave people wanting more and then kind of slowly have people get to know her.
Yeah, I mean, while we're on the same subject of, talking about character styles and changing personalities, do you think EastEnders has ever gone too far with certain storylines or dark storylines for the show? Do you think they take it too far?
No, I don't. I think EastEnders, like, as you know, I'm a huge fan
Mm,
of EastEnders, and I think they deal with everything brilliantly. Like Lola's recent brain tumor
mm,
storyline just moved me and broke my heart so much. And the way they work with charities, Chantel's domestic abuse
yeah.
storyline, um, the way they work with experts, so they really of these charities, so they really do know what they're doing. And I
Mm,
think I really like that there's nowhere EastEnders won't go, you know.
mm, mm.
Uh, there's no subject to taboo, and I like that.
So you don't ever think it's a bit far-fetched or,
Well,
Yeah,
obviously it's heightened
yeah,
reality,
yeah, yeah, of course.
obviously.
Yeah.
You
So many
know,
people take it like realistically though, don't they? I mean, especially on
yes,
the fan side of it. Yeah.
yeah. Some people are like, that would never happen in real life, which I do get, and obviously
But
on
it's like,
one
of course.
there
Yeah.
wouldn't be so many deaths and so many all this, obviously, but
Mm,
I kind of watch TV with the view of like it doesn't have to be realistic to me.
mm.
I think it's nice to have an escape and to have something a bit more heightened because life can be monotonous and boring, so it's
Yeah.
nice to
Yeah,
have
no,
something.
it's good. That's what
Yeah,
we need more of, really.
yeah.
Do you think there's ever a certain topic that EastEnders should avoid tackling at all? Yeah. Do you think there's ever a subject that they shouldn't talk about or
No, I
promote?
don't. I don't, to be honest. I think
Mm,
they can go anywhere, and I think they have gone anywhere, and I really
mm,
respect that. I think that's what's so good about it. So I no, I don't think anything should be off limits.
mm. How did you approach taking sensitive or controversial subjects in the show for your own character?
How did I approach it? I kind of just would try and do research as much as possible, you know, when, because obviously Bobby was a Muslim and had converted to Islam. Um, and luckily I had an ex-boyfriend who had grown up Muslim. So I
Okay.
kind of knew a lot in that respect, but I
Oh
made
wow.
sure to do more research in terms of in that respect, because obviously there's a scene where I wear you know, I cover my hair and I wear a head covering to go to the mosque to kind of learn more about it. And
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that was authentic, you know. And I grew up in London in a very diverse area. So
Hmm.
uh, that and went to school, primary school with a lot of Muslims. So that kind of
Yeah.
helped as well. I had people I could reach out to.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just to be as informed and educated as possible,
Mm.
um, and to just always, I think if you're emotionally authentic, I think it's much harder to go wrong, and that's kind of what I always tried to do.
Mm. So did you put that any of that into the show as well? Did you manage to adjust the storylines a little bit because of, you know, your previous past like and real life relationship as well? Yeah. Did you?
Not
Yeah.
did I? I'm trying to think.
Or
No.
maybe they knew you well enough in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually, because the writers research it really well, so they pretty much had everything right as far as I saw. There were always like ideas I had in terms of like me and Clay would like to not improv lines, we wouldn't do that, but
Mm.
you know, we would maybe add a kiss in a scene where there wasn't a kiss, add a
Mm.
hug in a scene where there wasn't a hug, things like that, just to really make it so that we felt like a couple.
Mm.
um so in that respect, yes, but no, and they always have their research down, and the writers and the crew and the team are
Wow.
amazing.
Okay, interesting. So, changing the subject, you've also been in Casualty as well for one episode I saw.
Yes.
Um, what's the process of that? Because a lot of EastEnders actors have been in like the Beale, obviously EastEnders, but they've been in the Beale, Casualty, a lot of the BBC programs. What's the process of that? Is that still auditioning, or is it because you're already working for the BBC at that time?
No, you still have to audition for
Mm.
everyone. I think the reason there's a lot of crossover is because the shows work in quite a similar way. So once you've kind of worked that way once, I think they're like, okay, we know that she or he or they can work this way, you know?
Mm.
Um and also it's just kind of types of characters that kind of, it's like a, you know, in Marvel there's like the Marvel universe. I
Mm.
feel like it's
Yeah.
kind of that for like EastEnders and Casualty and stuff like that. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's all in the same universe, if
Same
that
kind
makes
of
sense.
franchise. Yeah, franchise. Yeah, and yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you mean. Yeah.
So I think that's why there can be a lot of crossover.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I love doing Casualty. It was like weirdly, I was so young doing all these shows, but I would always play a mum.
Mm.
EastEnders was the only time I wasn't playing a mum. I played a mum on Casualty, on Call the Midwife,
They seem to
on
like their mums on the
they
show.
do, they do.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
mums are a good group to celebrate, to be fair.
Mm.
But I was like, I had to do my research. When I did a labor scene on Call the Midwife, I was like looking up, you know,
Mm.
film births on YouTube and scarred myself for life. But you got to do it.
Maybe they can bring Dana back pregnant on EastEnders or something
Yeah,
with, you
maybe that
know,
would be fun. I have
Bobby's or
experience.
yeah, Peter's kid.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to see.
yeah,
Do you think she could come back? Because I mean, you're still alive in the show, aren't you? Do you think
yeah.
there could be a return? And how would you like it to happen?
Possibly there could be a return, yeah, because obviously she's just gone to Glasgow to study
Yeah.
nursing, living her life, and Harvey's still in the show, so
Mm.
there could possibly be a return.
That's good.
Um,
She can take over Sonia's job now as well, then, at the moment, because she's been arrested, hasn't she? So,
oh, has
yeah.
she? I didn't know
Mm. Oh,
that.
you're still not watching it? Oh,
Well, I'm a bit behind at the
mm.
moment. I'm a bit behind.
Yeah.
Uh, I was told I bumped into a really big EastEnders fan at this Halloween party,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh my God!" And he was telling me all about how Harvey kind of had this flirty thing going on with this woman who then
Mm.
he was sending money to,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. It's
that
quite
type of
recent.
thing. So I didn't know about that. I'm very behind.
Mm.
I've got this goal to watch 100 films this year, so I've mostly been watching films. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit behind. But yeah, Dana's return, yeah, possibly. And I don't mind how it happens as long as it's kind of with a bang, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got a thought about it though? Have you got you know, a deeper thought of your return of what you yeah.
Maybe I'd like it would be so fun if there was like a Sandy from Greece style transformation, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
like she was the good girl and she was so caring for everyone. And she kind of goes and moves away from home and she comes back this kind of changed person, this
Okay.
like rebel, leather wearing, smoking
Okay.
chick.
Yeah.
I would kind of love that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
seeing Harvey kind of come to terms with that, I think could be quite funny.
Yeah. No, that's a cool idea actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you do come back. I mean, it could be soon. You never know.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Do you ever plan on? You know, I don't know if you've done any Hollywood jobs already, but do you plan on going to America to act at all? Like, would you like to expand that far?
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to. I would
Mm.
absolutely love to. I think I love American cinema. I love obviously we all do. And yeah, I would absolutely love to. I'm thinking of going and doing maybe some training over there, like a course over there. Someone I'm working with at the moment was telling me about this really cool acting course in New York.
Yeah.
This trainer, so not trainer, this coach who coached Philip Seymour Hoffman. So stuff like that could be something fun to do.
Awesome. Just stay away from the Diddy parties.
Yeah, well,
Had to bring that into
yes.
it.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, hopefully there'll be no more of them.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's done with that now.
What is your thoughts on the downfall situation of Hollywood at the moment with the celebrities? Like, do you have an opinion?
I just honestly am watching it all unfold.
Mm.
It's blowing my mind, to be honest.
Mm.
I just had no idea, obviously, that any of this was happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm one who's like I keep very up to date with actors
Mm.
and musicians, the odd musician that I'm into. But apart from that, I'm a bit like under a rock. Like I'll be sitting at dinner with my friends and they'll be
Yeah.
telling
Yeah.
me all about the lube and the freak offs and all this. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So what advice would you give to young people wanting to do what you do and, you know, join the industry? What would you tell them?
What would I tell them? Big question. Because I thought you might ask me this. I was trying to think
Yeah.
about earlier. And honestly, like sometimes I still feel like I don't even know myself. So I think that feeling to not know is like, I would say, don't feel ashamed or scared or anything of that. I would say genuinely, I would say go and you if you would like to act, go and audition for National Youth Theatre.
Okay.
That I learned so much there. It changed my life. I made the best friends. I got my agent through the play I did with National Youth Theatre.
Well,
I did a play with like, I mean, it's like the who's who of up and comers. The play I did with National Youth Theatre had Daisy Edgar Jones in it. It
okay.
had the now late Chance Perdomo in it, who was the star of the Boys spin-off.
Yeah.
Um, who else did it have in it? Had this actress called Nancy Farina, who's now doing really well. So yeah, I would
Well,
say go and do National Youth Theatre, and
yeah.
also just
So
like
that's the training school, is it? Were they
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it's like you can do the way it worked when I did it. It's like a summer course,
Okay.
and then you can kind of audition for their shows after that. I don't know if it still works like that,
Okay.
but
So, oh wow. So you still have to audition for the training center as well. And
yes,
oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so you do a monologue,
Mm,
and that's kind of how you audition, but they're very like kind and friendly with you. Like,
mm,
don't expect this like scary panel. It's not like that at all.
mm.
It's a very nice, inviting atmosphere. So yeah, and I would also say like watch as much as possible
Yeah,
and study TV and cinema, and but also don't, it's about balance, right? So you've got to study it, but you've also got to do it. Like acting is one of those things where you can sit around and talk about it all you want, but you'll
hmm,
never know or improve until you get up and do it.
mm.
So it's just kind of getting over that initial thing, I guess.
Yeah. Wow, there's a lot to take in.
Yeah,
It seems like a lot. To
yeah.
be fair, yeah. What's next for you? Are you working on anything else? I know you said one project at the start, but is there anything you can announce at all?
Well, I can say that a horror comedy I did, Members Club, is now streaming on Amazon Prime for free. If anyone would like to watch that, it's kind of a bit of a spoiler to say who I play, but I play my
Mm,
character's Daisy, and yeah, that's all I'll say. It was nice playing someone because I played her right after Dana, and so the contrast of Daisy is someone who, she will be coming up with the plan. She is brave. She will be saying what to do. Which as a like it was a nice contrast to, obviously Dana is my favorite character I've ever played, to be honest. But it was
yeah.
nice to have a contrast to Dana, who was so scared, to be honest,
Mm,
and Daisy was so brave. So it was nice to have that, have
wow.
that
Different
that little,
personalities.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you ever just quickly, do you ever struggle to adjust personality or character? Like, can it be quite difficult to move in and out while working? That
You
makes
know
sense.
what? Yeah, it does make sense. And
Mm,
I think I can see how it could be hard, but for me, it annoys my friends and the people around me. I do it in real life a little bit anyway. I kind of
mm.
change my
Okay.
personality up a bit sometimes.
Yeah, personality
So
disorder.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Go and chat to my therapist about that. But I kind of, yeah, because I've always been an observer
Mm,
and always been an imitator. So like when I was in primary school, for example, I like watched the way my year five teacher would like move her mouth like this
mm.
side when she was concentrating. And I would watch her do that and imitate it and be like, I kind of want to do that.
That's
So
funny.
and my other teacher's daughter would come into school and she would walk in a way where she would like really move her hips, and I like
Mm.
thought it was really cool and confident. So I started walking like that. Um, I've been always doing that anyway.
Mm.
I think it's kind of comes naturally to me.
Well,
Uh, so yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking. It's been amazing chatting to you. It's been good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so,
really
so much
enjoyed
for
it.
having me. This was great.